Thanks, Addy, and afternoon, everybody. So, my name's Alicia, and I am a customer success manager on the sales side of the business, and I work in the architecture, engineering, and construction team. So, a little bit about me. I've been with Esri UK now for just over 7 years. And like many of my colleagues presenting today, my career or background is very similar to them, and also I'm sure many of you on today's call. So my interest with GIS very much started at university. So back in the day, I studied a geography undergraduate degree at Portsmouth Uni. And like Gemma, during my second year, I really started to specialise a little bit more in GIS and really develop a passion for the topic. It was then that I started to think about what I wanted to do when I graduated. And I actually made the decision to go on to study GIS further for another year. So, off the back of my undergraduate degree, I went on to do a master's in GIS at UCL. Now, straight away when I joined that course, I think 3 months in, our lecturers started to talk to us about careers. And for me, that was quite challenging because I had gone from sixth form to university, and I never really had an opportunity to go out into the field and think about what career really suited me. So, for that reason, I decided to apply for the Esri UK graduate scheme. So off the back of graduating, I went on to join the 2-year graduate scheme, and I've pretty much been here ever since. So over the 7 years during my time at Esri UK, I've actually had a number of different roles within the business. Now, what's quite interesting about this is that my career progression or path might not necessarily fit those of my colleagues. In fact, it's quite unique, I would say. As you can see, I have both experience on the technical and the sales side of the business. And that kind of progresses me up into the role that I'm in today as a CSM. And I think that's quite a credit to Esri UK. You know, for some of you on today's call, you might know what kind of department or role you want to go into, but you also might want to make or carve your own path, and that option is available as well. I think for me personally, going through these different roles and progressing over the past 7 years, it's really helped me to kind of hone and develop my skills in a variety of different areas. But also, you could probably throw me at different situations and using the skill set I've been able to develop, whether it's talking about the technology or helping customers, I'll be able to adapt to those situations. So the experience I've been able to gain is actually really beneficial, especially in the role I'm in today. So going back to the graduate scheme and thinking about how that has really helped me, there's really three key points I want to get across. Without the graduate scheme, I wouldn't have been able to gain the experience that I have done. And also, I wouldn't have known that sales was a role I wanted to go into. Similar to Gemma and Richard, I came in thinking in my first year, hands down, I'm going to end up being a consultant. But it wasn't until I went into sales that I realized it really played to my strengths and it was a role that I really enjoyed. So if you're thinking about the graduate scheme, I think one of the huge benefits is that you really do get exposure to different departments, but you also learn what works for you as well. The other benefit of the graduate scheme is really developing soft skills. There's loads of different situations that I'm in on a day-to-day basis, whether it's on a call with a customer, emailing customers, speaking to them one-on-one, or even presenting at events. And as a CSM, I have to deal with both good situations and bad situations. And it's very much those soft skills that you develop over the years that really helps you in those environments. And I think finally for me, the other benefit, a very big one, is getting to know the wider teams at Esri UK. Now, this comes over time, but actually being part of the graduate scheme and being able to work with different individuals really helps because when I'm helping my customers and I'm thinking about who I need to go to speak to about technical issues or certain products, I know exactly who to go to because I've been able to work with them over the past couple of years. So moving on into my current role, a hypothetical question for you all. But when I mention sales, what do you really think of? Now I'm going to take a guess, but I imagine lots of you are thinking about hitting targets, constantly selling, working with numbers and charts and graphs and all sorts. And you wouldn't necessarily be wrong, but what I would say is that a sales role and a sales career at Esri UK is quite unique. So for me, when I think about sales, I think of a slightly different picture. For me, a role at Esri UK is quite unique because we are advocates for our customers, and my role is to ultimately help our customers succeed. And as cliche as that sounds, that's actually in our titles as customer success managers. For us, being able to help our customers understand the technology and use it to solve real world problems is really kind of what we're there to do and help with. So, on a day-to-day basis, in terms of what I do, it's very much customer orientated. For me, I work with customers to understand their goals and aspirations with the technology in the short to the long term. We help them on projects when they're bidding for new work, thinking about how the technology aligns, what new technology is coming up, and guide them in the right direction. But we also are quite huge advocates of our customers' work as well. So throughout the year, we'll work with marketing, we'll write blog articles, case studies, we'll host webinars, and also get our customers to present at events with us to really highlight their successes using geospatial technology. As well as building that relationship, I also work on new bids and tenders for new projects. So this is where a new project comes about. There might be a need for geospatial technology, so we'll put together a proposal. We'll work with professional services, and I'll work on the commercials, as well as introducing our proposed solution. And ultimately, underneath it all, my end goal is not only to help the customer succeed, but also keep them abreast of like the technology changes as well. As the technology helps, things change so quickly. So I think it's important that we can take our customers along with us on that journey. Now, there's a number of reasons why I really love my job. And one of the things I learned very early on, especially off the back of the graduate scheme, is that I absolutely love working with people, whether it's customers or internally with staff. So the sales role really kind of aligns to my interests because I can be a trusted advisor for customers. Being able to see them succeed is a real highlight of my career, working with them, working through challenges, and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel is really one of the benefits and one of the things I really enjoy about being a CSM. There's also a number of different areas that I love to get involved in. And as a CSM, I think it's one of the only roles where you get to work with the other teams and the departments on a daily basis. So we might be working on a big project for a customer. I'll be speaking to our technical leads in pre-sales, in support, and professional services. And that's quite nice as well, because as I say, we get to work with the customers, but also internal staff. What I really love about my job is that there's always a new challenge as well. I've always strived to push myself and challenge myself and develop myself further. And that's definitely what I get in sales because every day is completely different. And what I love to bring to the table as well is my experience on the technical side of the business. Just because I'm in a sales role, it doesn't necessarily mean that I drop the technical side. In fact, there's quite a lot of flexibility for me to kind of bring that along with me. So I love to host, technical conversations with the customer, but lead them all the way through to the commercials as well, and very much make that role my own. So in terms of career progression, if I were to give you any tips and tricks, it's very much to make every situation or make the best of every situation you're put in. On the graduate scheme, or whether you're looking at other roles within the business, you might not think it's for you, but actually going in with open eyes and thinking about how you can develop yourself and hone your skills in that role, I think is quite important. There's lots of different situations that we're all thrown into, whether you're at the early part of your career or later on, that you think, I don't necessarily feel quite comfortable or I haven't done that very well, but only by practice are you going to get better. And I also encourage you all to have an open mind. I think it's quite interesting hearing from Richard and Gemma about their experiences going into their second year. You know, similar to me, what you think you might want to do and what you actually end up doing can be two different things. So I would say just take every opportunity as it comes. And in terms of, what it looks like for us on the other end working with customers, at the moment we're working virtually, but on the right hand side you can kind of see a small working group with one of my customers that we led. And on the left is probably one of my career highlights as well. So being able to present at the user conference in front of 2,500 people. Again, another example of something that you can strive towards, something I definitely didn't think I would be able to do, but definitely something I look back on and think that was an incredible opportunity. So finally, I just want to wrap up by talking about extra responsibilities. Over the 7 years that I've been with the company, there's been lots of opportunities to develop myself and work with the wider business outside of my day-to-day role. I started off by being a graduate mentor. So when new graduates came in, just being another ear for them, whether it's about the work, the department, or even moving to a new location, it's a really nice way to engage with people who are going through a similar situation that you went through at one time. Over the years, I've also got involved with the recruitment process, so being able to interview new talent, like many of you on today's call, going through technical demonstrations and just being able to speak to you is eye-opening, and it's interesting to be on the other side of the table, but definitely something I can resonate with having gone through that. Last year, I also became a line manager, so being responsible for someone else, trying to develop them further, setting goals and aspirations, and just working with them on a day-to-day basis was really exciting. And also this year, one of my highlights is becoming a strategy lead. So working on a company-wide strategy on digital twins. Again, something I've never done before, but it's allowing me to develop myself further, kind of pushing my skill set and gaining a new experience. And throughout all of that and all the years I've been at Esri UK, I've also been a subject matter expert. So certain solutions you kind of pick up as you go on. One of my solutions that I'm an SME for is ArcGIS Hub. And even to this day, in a sales role, I still have calls and meetings with the teams in support and pre-sales and professional services about that solution in different industries and different projects. So hopefully it just goes to show that even if you are interested in a career in sales, there's lots of flexibility in terms of the route and the path you take, but also mixing both technical and sales related skills together. So if you do have any questions at all for me, I've included my email address. I'd love to hear from you all, whether it's about the graduate scheme or sales. But yeah, definitely keep an open mind, I think, coming on to the graduate scheme and think about career progression. I think that's one thing Esri UK are really strong at. You can very much carve your own path and really make these roles your own.